And a good morning to you. Welcome inside the bottom line.
But see, I can't drive one because of the man card thing. That's wrong.
That doesn't bother me. If I wanted to drive a pink Mary Kay Cadillac, that would not bother me at all.
Oh, God.
If I need to make sure people know I'm a man, I can do that too. It's not a problem. Don't think I've ever had my man card questioned, but I guess there's always a first time. You never know. You have to be careful about those things. Good morning to you. We're just talking randomly here. Glad to have you here on a Tuesday morning. God, 57 degrees outside. I am loving it. You know, I went home from practice last night. My feet were cold.
That is fantastic.
My feet were cold.
That's a great
But then
thing.
I'm old. So that,
You know
that
what? I
accounts for a
told
lot.
Garrick, I said, Dad should have wore a sweatshirt tonight down here on Sigmund Field. Because one thing about it, near the creek down there,
Well, it gets cold. It gets
I know
cold.
what they say that at Lincolnton now when we go to the games, like later in the year there, and it gets cold really quick on that bank down there. I know, yeah.
Yep.
Something for that.
And good morning, guys. Glad to have you in Milton. I stopped by and saw Brother David last week. I think it was last Friday. He was working. We chatted a few minutes.
That's cool.
Stephen, good morning. Sissy Lee, good morning. Richie, good morning. Mikey, good morning. Hadn't seen you in a while. Thanks for joining in, Mikey.
Morning.
Lindsay said, I'm not as insulated as I used to be. Neither am I, and it doesn't help when you're taking 75 milligrams of Plavix to thin your blood out. That don't help either. That's for brain health, and I've always thought my brain needed some health, so that was okay. Milton said Panthers are a train wreck. Richie said might be a train wreck, but the entire Browns and Steelers game was a complete train wreck, especially the first quarter. We'll talk about all of that and more here this morning.
It's a mess. It's a mess.
I got a couple of things, couple of ways I want to go with this, and it's good for you to participate in this because I think we'll have a different view when this comes up. One thing last night. Shaq Thompson. Don't know how serious his injury is.
Oh, yeah.
It's just somebody fell on it. I mean, it's just,
Yeah.
Wasn't anything big. I see here in the headlines, Chubb's season may be over.
I didn't see it, but they said they showed it on the Jumbotron, and the fans were like, ooh, and they gave him they started chanting his name, which
Knee injury.
yeah.
Anytime you go off on a cart, it's not a good sign.
Well, now it's supposed to be pretty bad or gruesome, what they saw, or just look bad.
Well, we'll see.
But Chubb, that was it. Knee got folded pretty hard right there. He's like, dude, I can't stand up. So the fans were cheering for him, okay, which was, that's a rivalry game, obviously. But
still got pretty – of all the teams that are rabid fans, Pittsburgh's probably one of the few that can still be professional.
Yeah. I mean,
you're not getting that in Philadelphia.
Oh man, yeah.
I mean, there's places you're not going to get.
Baltimore doesn't, really.
Yeah,
and that's okay. They said something about, and maybe listeners can help us. They said something about Chubb has some kind of like best of something over the last how many ever years from. I can't remember if it was like yards from scrimmage, something that had to. It was a very good stat that, I mean, obviously he's the first in the league over X amount of years or whatever, but I'd like to, if anybody heard that last night, Mandy and I were talking right when they were going through it, and of course I couldn't rewind it. And so anyway.
I was looking to see if there was anything in here. I don't see anything here. Just significant knee injury. I'm looking to see if it talks about what, kind of what. Okay, he's rushed for more than 1,000 yards in 4 straight seasons, including a career high 1,525 last year. That's what it is.
Yeah.
He's 1,000-yard rusher for 4 straight seasons. He's one of just 5 players in the NFL with at least 8 rushing touchdowns in each of his first 5 season games.
Yeah.
Adrian Peterson, LaDainian Tomlinson, Emmitt Smith, and Jim Brown.
Yeah, right. So that's probably it.
Yep.
And it was just, he's such a great runner and such a great competitor. And to have him been on that team and that franchise and that dysfunction that they've had for so long. And I don't blame the players for that. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't blame the players for that, okay? Because, I blame everybody but them, okay? People say, yeah, but they're the ones who got to go out and play. Let me tell you something. You start signing people that have issues and problems and drafting people who got problems and putting these problems with this problems, and you think you're going to get two negatives making a positive? No, not in sports.
Mm-mm.
That happened when me and Mandy had Quinn, right? But not when, not in sports. You just can't build, all kidding aside, you can't build anything by bringing negativity of any kind into something to meld it with other negativity.
Nope, that just gets worse.
Yeah, right.
Panthers did fall last night, and I don't think that was surprising. Let me give you some of the things. Derek Carr was quarterback for the Saints, 228 yards, 1 pick, no touchdowns. Taysom Hill did some quarterbacking last night, 9 carries, 75 yards.
Yeah, he did.
That's when Shaq got hurt, if I'm not mistaken. When you look at it, it was 2017, and I'm going to say this, and I've said this from the beginning. I think the Panthers have a quarterback. Watching him work and the vision he has is definitely NFL quarterback, franchise quarterback stuff.
Yes.
The problem is he has no protection. But for him to be able to move and stop and hit a pass like he does, but you can't build anything. He went 22 of 33, 153 yards, 1 touchdown, had 4 sacks. The problem is his numbers were better than Derek Carr, but he's got to have some help up front. That's the biggest thing.
They're still, obviously working on a lot of things, right? But with Frank Reich,
right man in
was it
in
Milton
place.
that said they're a train wreck? Is that Milton?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Milton is right. But I will tell you this, and Milton may or may not feel the same way, but he probably does. The right man is in charge. Everybody else needs to get out of the way.
And I think ownership's learned that too.
If they're serious, you get out of the way and let a professional that has playing experience and a tremendous amount of coaching experience in the league, let them take over with oversight. You can have meetings with them, talk about things, because if you're investing that kind of capital into these players and personnel, you need to know what's going on. Your head doesn't need to be in the sand. But that doesn't mean that you micromanage it or you do this, right? So I'm hopeful.
I am too.
That you know what I'm saying? That you get out of the way and let the man do his job and let him build the process instead of worrying about right now, improve for right there. It takes a little bit longer than this. This is not baseball, okay?
Duck said the same thing, said need somebody to throw the ball to also. They gave away some talent to get the talent they got. My wife said, good morning, honey. She said you could rewind if you had YouTube TV. I've got YouTube TV, but I was asleep by then. That's the way that works. My day started at 4 yesterday, and I was kind of tired. Here's the thing. I used to argue with Marty Herney about this. And because he is so old school with NFL stuff. But every team has got a window now that you can really be a Super Bowl contender based on key players and where they are on your salary cap hit. For example, any team that has a quarterback that is on his rookie deal, you're not paying a lot of money. You can afford to go get weapons to build him confidence, And I think that's a 4 to 5 year window. Now, if you miss that window, and I'll tell you a team that's getting ready to miss it, and I think it's going to cost the head coach his job, is Buffalo. Josh Allen's just going to be coming off that quarterback deal, and they can't quite get there. And Cincinnati's going to be another with Joe Burrows. That's another one that's going to come. There are places that you've got to improve. You know, the other thing that the Carolina Panthers have done, and I'll argue with you till I'm blue in the face about the Steelers, is Carolina Panthers have got a pretty good defense, but you still got to get points on the board.
Right.
You can't show that defense if you can't. When you're, I talked to a friend of mine this weekend who's run defense in high school for years and years, and they were talking about their team doesn't have quite the offensive production that it had, and so that's when the defensive coordinator and the offensive coordinator get together and say, how many do I have to score? How many can you hold them to? And then how many do I have to score to get by that? And that's the way this is. Defense sort of understands we can hold them to this, but I don't care if I can hold them to 3. If you can't put 7 on the board, we can't win.
Field position in this scenario that you're talking about is paramount. All right. It is the ultimate, decision maker in when you have a defensive minded or defensive schemed football team. You have to punt. You can't go for it, on 4th and short, hardly ever, unless you're down inside the 30. You've got to punt because field position is what ends, as you well know, is what ends up, making you, giving you the opportunity to score. It's because if your offense isn't powerful, the ability to sustain drives is not there. So you've got to have shorter, measurable to get into the end zone. I mean, I've seen defensive teams in high school football, that were not good offensively but had great defense, and they'd punt, on 4th down right around their own 35, 40-yard line and get it down the end zone. Then they get the ball back there, so instead of having to go for it on 4th down at the 40 or 35, now they got 1st and 10 there when they get the ball back. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
And so, it's just one of those things that, unfortunately, a lot of people press, especially in high school football. And you even see in NFL too some. They press on that, and then you got to give them up. Well, your defense, can only do so much, right, when they are put in tough situations.
Yeah.
So.
Richie, I think you're right. If Buffalo doesn't get there, McDermott may be gone. I think he's going to have to – either go conference championship game or Super Bowl because I think they'll make a change.
But look how good Miami is now. Look how consistent they are, and then look at now at New England.
But
people say, yeah, they lost, but look at that. The measurables in the league, and Allen, Laney, they've got 3 or 4 years of film on him, just like they got 2 or 3 years of Burrow. It's not the ability to keep getting better each year. It's the ability to go against the defense and the looks that they give you and to be able to adjust from that to continue to climb the ladder. So it has nothing to do with the individual skill. It's processing information and understanding, right? Knowing where to go with the ball, what, coverages, things that are in front of you.
Well, the other side of that is, and this is where, and you know that I'm a Cowherd disciple. Cowherd makes a lot of sense in that the teams, there's only been one exception to this rule, and I'll explain to you why there's an exception to this rule. There's only been one defensive-minded coach in the NFL that has been tremendously successful, and that's Belichick. Couple reasons. He left Tommy alone. He entrusted his offense to the offensive coordinator, and he had one of the best offensive line coaches ever in New England. The Steelers, the Panthers, they cannot figure out the offensive line. They can't get it right. And, I'm hoping that's going to change because this is the first offensive-minded coach the Panthers have had since George Seifert, and you can't count him. You can't count him. So there's still a lot to that. And let me take a break. I got more stuff I can rant about here. I'll get you fired up here in just a moment. Back in a moment.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with Auto Owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit mooneyinsurance.com. Stifel Nicholas now has an office in your community. Stifel Nicholas is a full-service organization offering a wide range of investment vehicles and services. These include money market funds, CDs, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, annuities, retirement plans, and managed accounts, to name a few. Our financial advisors will sit down with you and help you tailor an investment plan, explaining strategies and investments which may help you achieve your personal goals. Call 4Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange. And welcome back. A couple comments that came in. I'll go over those in just a moment.
Whoa.
Yeah, Miles Sanders did not get it going last night. I think he had less than 50 yards, if I'm not mistaken, Lindsay said. Richie said, and if you didn't see the catch by Olive for the Saints, he did a great job. Keep concentrating, eyes on the ball to make the catch. DB was making a great play on the ball as well, possibly been called pass interference. Milton said, I'm a Chiefs fan, and they look awful too. Receivers can't catch and running game's bad. Chad said Ryan Leaf, Jamarcus Russell, Matt Leinart, and Bryce Young see a connection. I do on the first 3, Chad. I think the jury's still out on Bryce Young because of the football smarts that he has that these guys don't have or didn't have, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. Bryce Young, he's not going to get you in trouble making bad decisions from what I've seen. And it's just he's got to have more time to make it execute. Chad said get Young out of the pocket. He can still run and be smart. He does get down, Chad, but I don't want him out there. Mm-hmm. I don't want a safety or a corner clipping him up. Milton thinks all hype, big bust. I don't think so. He's tiny, and I get that. Defenses will kill him, but they got to be smart with him, and I think Frank Reich can do that. Now, I saw a comment earlier about Frank Reich. Let me roll back up here.
Well, while you're finding that, you know what Brady said, about, how to negate a lot of that, is the ability, and kind of to Milton's point, he's going to get killed if he stays in there, right? is to get rid of the ball. Have an offensive part. When Brady came off his injury, I believe it was the ACL years ago. That was one thing that they did. For about half the season was everything was very quick. To make sure that no pressure was on him, he stayed healthy, that kind of thing. And there's potential. That Frank Reich will try to do something like that as he puts the pieces together. So, there's a lot of valid points there, but I think in Bryce's case, we need to kind of let time play itself out.
Yep. Richie said he saw people talking about Reich and why they're glad he's gone from Indy. They got tired of all the check downs. They want to see Young go deep, but there's problems there. And you got them right here, Richie. 3 issues. They need another a wide receiver that's got experience other than Thielen.
Right.
They need an experienced tight end. A tight end makes a world of difference to a developing quarterback.
Yes, because of the mismatch.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why.
And most of all, they need to get the O-line better. Until that happens, you're exactly right. They can't go down the field. You got to be able to do that. Johnson said 2 games in, and we're ready to call Young a bust. Come on. Now, I'm not. And I'm even bypassing the point that he went to Alabama. Okay, I'm letting that go.
Well, I think the thing on the Alabama quarterbacks though is now, I don't think that can be said
as much
because at all.
Yeah,
because of Hurts, and of what Tua's showing now.
Mm-hmm.
He was very good throwing the football on Sunday. And last year, if you'll remember, people were like, oh, he should never play again. What about his health and safety? It's kind of like worried about developments coming in your community.
Yeah.
Why do you care how big somebody's yard is? Why do you care?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Some people don't like big yards. Some people like big yards.
Mm-hmm.
That's the ability to choose.
And some people like big butts that cannot lie. Oh, sorry.
Jeez,
that was a different program. My
God.
bad. I'm sorry.
But no, you know what I'm saying. I mean, it's his health. Nate Burleson said it well last year on CBS This Morning. The other, I guess, whoever they are that sit on that, group of people that talk in the morning, tell about how, awful this is and how great this is, right? And they were like, oh, he should be, it's about his health, and he should. They said, look, what you all don't understand is, and he was very nice about it, but he's very direct. Some of these men that are out there playing have not only themselves, but they've got 10, 15, 20 family members that they are responsible for. They know what they're getting into when they go out there.
That's right.
We're worried about taking ownership of everybody else's health maybe instead of our own. Maybe we should start with that, and then once we have the perfect scenario, then we can go out and preach.
Richie made a good comment, said Young did a great job throwing the ball to an open space for his receivers. The final TD drive, he looked like he started trusting guys like Mingo and threw the ball where Mingo was going to be, and he caught it. I think Bryce Young is a keeper. And here's the other side of it, guys, and you got to think about this. You don't get top picks in the draft unless you suck. I mean, it's just that simple.
100%.
And these top-tier talent, sometimes it hurts them because they go into an organization that doesn't have it together. Now, can they get it together? I think so. The Dolphins, what's the big difference with the Dolphins and Tua this year? Offensive-minded coach.
Well, I mean, they've had that guy, and he has an interesting story too. He's battled alcoholism and some other things. And they were talking about, he doesn't look like your typical head coach, right? He doesn't look like.
There's a lot of those in the NFL now.
And they were talking about what the players like most about him is his ability to, be real with them, talk about his problems
and relate to them.
Yeah,
they can relate to him,
and he will talk to them as people and not talk down to them or at them. And I think, a lot of times, Laney, people that are in charge have those demeanors. A lot of times you feel like they're talking at you or down to you. And in reality, it really doesn't matter, but it does in the long-term psyche of things and how you perform, right? And loyalty has a lot to say about how you go about doing what you do and why you do what you do for the people you do it for, right?
I agree.
And I wasn't real big on this guy getting hired initially. I'm talking about somebody that just follows football and just has opinions on things, right? Wasn't going to talk down about him. He seems to be a very, a good person. that wants to do a good job, but I want to give him a chance. And now, not just because they're winning, but because of what I think he's winning in the locker room and off
It
the field
starts
with the
there.
players. And I think that's a good place, and I think they respect him because he's the kind of guy that look at him and say, well, you did this really well this week, but these are things you got to work on, or, hey, you broke a team rule, so this is what's happening to you. He doesn't go in there and say, why would you do that? You're stupid. I can't believe you would do that, da-da-da-da. The guys that do that don't have jobs anymore. They don't.
I'm going to give you some names here that I think is kind of amazing that these would be your passing leaders from the second week. How about Kirk D. Cousins with 364?
Kirk Cousins is a great quarterback.
Desmond Ritter from Atlanta.
That's the boy from Atlanta.
Yeah.
Garrick
Baker,
loves him.
Baker Mayfield. That's Garrick's new boy.
G has lost his mind.
Over to Tampa. He had to tell me about Tampa Bay winning.
Oh, God, he's wearing me out last night. They're 2-0, Laney.
C.J. Stroud. He was a passing leader, 384 yards, but they played Houston. I mean, take it in a grain of salt.
Man, it's awesome.
Daniel Jones, Danny Dimes, as the Giants had an ugly win over the Cardinals. He threw for 321.
Yep.
Dak Prescott, 255.
Cowboys are going to win the Super Bowl. Jerry
will screw that up.
No, he won't. I'm going to tell you why. And I've thought about this after watching them play. No, I'm serious. After watching them play, the key there is the stuff that Jerry infiltrated into the system. For example, Kellen Moore, Jason Garrett, all of that is gone. McCarthy is back, so now you got Dak Favre in the game and not Dak Prescott. You are now starting to see gunslinger mentality along with an inside the tackles running game that allows that gunslinger stuff that McCarthy let Favre do for so many years now come to fruition because Dak can do that. His arm is strong enough to get out in the pocket and throw on the run. All right? Their defense is good enough. If Dak throws an interception, it doesn't matter. That's the best. That defense is
at least top 5.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Oh, I think by the end of the year, health is there. And I'm a Steelers fan, and it pains me to say this, but I really believe they are hands down right now the best team in the NFL. When you look at it from an offensive prowess standpoint, as McCarthy gets dialed in with Dak. All right, this is scary. He gets dialed in because they have the offensive line, which you have talked about this morning and over and over and over again, and they've got the defense. They are really good.
There you go. You heard it here first. Not only is Mac back,
Dak is back. Mac is back, and Dak is back.
All right.
Because of McCarthy.
When you talk about power rankings, 49ers are still the number one team.
Good luck, guys. Good luck.
With the Cowboys
they're
number 2.
going to be hurt.
Is that an NFC championship game?
No, I think the Eagles and Cowboys will be because the 49ers.
They're number 3.
The Eagles are? Mm-hmm. Wow.
The top-ranked AFC team are your Miami Dolphins.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Followed by the Kansas City Chiefs.
Nope, terrible.
Followed by the Ravens. Followed by the Bills. The Lions.
Yes. Lions should be 5.
Jaguars shouldn't have lost either yesterday.
The
They're
Jags.
number 9. And the Saints at number 10.
Nope.
Now, here's the surprise. How about your Washington Commanders at number
Falcons?
12?
Where are the Falcons?
The Falcons are 11.
I'm telling you, the NFC, hands down, with the exception of the Dolphins right now.
And then
I'm not a big believer in the Ravens.
Then
either.
you've got the Buccaneers, the Seahawks, the Steelers at 15. That's the second AFC team. Out of top 15, there's only 2 from the AFC.
I mean, that's yeah.
Browns, Chargers, Bengals,
Oh.
Packers, Rams, Jets, Titans, Giants, Patriots, Vikings, Raiders, Colts,
Colts are terrible.
Broncos, and then your Carolina Panthers sneak in at number 29 out of 32.
Who's worse than the Panthers?
The Bears, which everybody's stunned by that one, and the Houston Texans and the Cardinals.
Why are people stunned by the Bears, you think?
I thought the Bears would be much better this year.
Well, it's hopeful it would be, but it's not a shock. I just think there's a lot of
if you go look at the standings, the Dolphins are on top, followed by the Ravens in the north, the Jags in the south, and the Raiders in the west. In the NFC, you've got 3 undefeated teams: Cowboys, Eagles, Commanders.
That's going to be 3 playoff teams right there. And then you know what's crazy is you got the Lions and the Vikings. That'll probably be the other 2.
And the Vikings are 0-2. They're another team that has not got off to a good start. The Packers are tied with the Lions at 1-1 in the north.
Oh, they can't be because Atlanta has to, or not Atlanta, but the Panthers division, somebody has to be in that. So, holy cow, man.
Right now in the south, it's the Falcons, the Saints, and the Bucks all at 2-0.
There could be an 11-6 team that doesn't make the playoffs this year. That is potentially possible.
Except in a division where they're all bad, like the South.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean. Or I don't think the West is much better either, is it?
Oh, yeah. The 49ers, the Rams, Seahawks, and Cardinals. 49ers. So
that's what I'm saying. So there is a possibility that a 10-7 or 11-6 team in that top NFC, which is the East, I believe. Is that right? Potentially could be, 10-7, 11-6 will not make it.
I'm gonna say this, and I have attaboy Chad, Seahawks. Of course, Duck's a big Dolphins fan. Adam said we have a good shot with the healthy offensive line.
Yeah.
Dak is prone to go Romo at any time.
Oh, no, that's a good point. I think the difference is he has – who said that, by the way?
Bob.
Oh, it's a great – Bob, okay. That's a great point. I think the thing that McCarthy will be able to do is to manipulate things enough where the potential of that occurring will lessen. Okay, so I don't disagree with Bob that he is right, but I think McCarthy being able to steer that and manage that is going to be the difference in what they're able to do and potentially keep that from happening.
Lindsay said Adam Chase will be thrilled to see his boys win, better than the Pats, the Duke of the NFL. Adam said, I hope everyone says 4 was right on the Super Bowl pick.
I hope
you heard it here. You heard it right here.
Hey, as a Steeler fan, I hope I'm not right, but
you heard it right here.
They look awful good. They look really good. Really
Milton
good.
said if the coach doesn't connect in the locker room, the team won't gel.
Yep, that's a great point.
Richie said Cowboys will win the Super Bowl. There's number 2 on the bandwagon. Then all the Cowboy fans wake up to only realize that they lost in the first round again. Of course, as a Washington fan, I can't say a whole lot. They haven't made the playoffs while Snyder run us into the ground. I think that's changing.
Who's not there anymore?
Where?
There's 3 people that aren't at Dallas anymore. Who's 2 of the 3? It could be a player or a coach.
Well, you've said 2 of them, Kellen Moore and Garrett.
All right. Zeke.
Yeah.
There was major dysfunction there for whatever reason. All right. They got him out.
That starts at the top
with
dysfunction.
It's a win for Zeke because now he's realized this is my second opportunity. I better get it right because my legacy's at play. He is in shape. He looks very good, and he's playing very hard for the Patriots, right? All right. Now, Dallas has a clean slate. They got the better running back for what they are doing that's carrying the football, the Pollard kid. And now
Tony Pollard, yep.
Now they're able to go to work.
Well, Milton sums it up best here for you, 4. He said, 4, we know that Dallas is good, but the owner has history.
100%.
And that's what scares you.
What's interesting is I haven't heard a lot from the owner this year, and normally I do by this time of the year. I haven't heard a lot by week 2 or week 3.
Mm-hmm.
And what's happening is I think with age like anything else and with – a couple of years of McCarthy being in there kind of like trying to manage chaos, he's finally said, you know what, if you want me, I don't know this, but it gives the appearance, if you want me to do this, I'm going to do it. And if you don't, that's fine because I can retire and there's no issue. I've got a couple Super Bowls, whatever, I'm good. You're not. I can get you there.
I'm going to make a prediction here, Richie. Richie went to college football, said Michigan State started the process to fire Mel Tucker. I saw that this morning. Mm-hmm. He said, when I got the initial alert from ESPN, all I saw was Michigan, and I thought Harbaugh was going to be fired for some odd reason. He's got that suspension. I'm going to make a prediction here. Michigan wins the national championship, and Harbaugh is in the NFL next year.
Holy smokes.
Okay, you heard it here first.
Wow.
Okay?
Fantastic. Yeah, Georgia probably will not this year based on what
Yeah,
else.
I don't think so. Yeah. Lindsay said that she saw he had been fired when he was at the gym this morning.
Oh, my goodness.
That's not good.
So he had some allegations or
Sexual harassment.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then what was Harbaugh's, what was the big thing?
That was a recruiting thing.
Yeah, so.
But it was so minor, nitpicky.
Yeah, I really don't know why, other than maybe, now that you pay him, I really don't know why you just don't. No, I don't know, man. I don't know.
Let's back up here. In unrelated news, the WWE has massive layoffs in the office and roster cuts. And let me tell you,
they're restructuring.
Let me give you my scenario on that. And I don't follow wrestling like I used to for the reasons that I'm about to give. It's not the way it used to be. Way too many.
It's not real anymore.
Way too many storylines that don't have anything to do with it being real. That's right. I mean, that's exactly right. It's got so much over-the-top stuff that they feel like they need another storyline and passing championships and championships matches were not enough. It's gotten too soap opera-ish. And for that reason, I'm going to pass, just like the Sharks say on Shark Tank. Milton said, I think his son threatened him with the rest home. Talking about Jerry. That's kind of harsh.
Oh, God.
I've seen some rest homes I'd take. Let's see. Jerry has a problem staying back for too long. He loves the attention. And that's exactly right. And it hurts his football team if he wants to win.
Yeah,
I think.
I mean, that's he's an active
Richie
owner.
said, where is he going to go if Harbaugh would come out to the NFL? As you know,
he's on the West Coast.
There's 6 or 7.
He's on the West Coast.
There's 6 or 7 coaches get fired every year.
And Pete's getting a little. I can see him going to Seattle. I can see him being I can see him going West Coast.
Pete's too long in the tooth. Link said, why would he take a pay cut to go to the NFL to get out of the bull crap? And here's the deal. Here's the thing, Link. He might get one of those. John. Help me, Chucky.
John Gruden.
John Gruden. He may get one of them John Gruden deals. Yeah. $100 million for 10 years.
Well, this is the thing too.
He should have won a Super Bowl when he was in the NFL.
Yes, he had every opportunity, but he made a quarterback change that he decided to go with athleticism. Okay, when he went with Kaepernick and ditched who?
Alex Smith, wasn't it? I know.
And you know what? I can hear it now. Oh, Kaepernick did this, and he threw this. And did he win the Super Bowl?
Mm-mm.
Did he win it? Did he win it?
Nope.
Okay. Did he win it? The answer's no.
Yep.
No.
Lindsay says,
well, it's not all about him. He has teammates.
You had a coach that made evaluations based on what he thought was best for the team.
Right. And you know what? In my opinion, it was wrong. But you know what? That doesn't mean that I dislike this person or don't.
He made a decision and was allowed to make that decision.
Sure.
That's that's something that Jerry doesn't allow to happen.
And what happened?
Yep. Sometimes you got to pay for those decisions.
Yeah.
Speaking of nitpicking, free Tez Walker. The next time you see Tez Walker play football, it will be in the NFL. Okay, so there's the third prediction for today.
I
take a break.
would like to know, Lanny.
Yeah.
Before we take a break, I would like to know the entire story with this Walker kid, and if there is anything else than what is already out there. Because if there's not, okay, and he did something before a ruling 2 days later happened, and they didn't grandfather him in, this in the society that we live in, all right, they're letting people, even after the rules, go and do things and say, oh, it's okay. Something is not right. We need to know the whole story if there is more. Because to everybody's point that's watching this, whether you're a Tar Heel fan or not, rules are rules, Okay? And if he did something before something was changed, and then they don't allow him to continue that, then we all would agree that that is wrong.
Based on what I've seen, I think it was the wrong decisions. I think he's been wronged. And I feel like if they're really going to pursue legal remedies, they must know the whole story and that they're okay.
And I
Back
agree.
in a minute.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit mooneyinsurance.com. Stifel Nicholas now has an office in your community. Stifel Nicholas is a full-service organization offering a wide range of investment vehicles and services. These include money market funds, CDs, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, annuities, retirement plans, and managed accounts, to name a few. Our financial advisors will sit down with you and help you tailor an investment plan, explaining strategies and investments which may help you achieve your personal goals. Call 4Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange. And welcome back. My mic works a whole lot better when you turn it on. Glad to have you here on a Tuesday morning. Richie said they're firing Mel Tucker with cause. He said, I think Michigan State has to because of the massive contract extension and raise they gave him after the first year's success. And Lindsay said the biggest thing is The Rock has come home. Okay. SMU and their donors raised over $100 million in 1 week to prepare for the move to the ACC. On the other side, Stanford went status quo for the ACC and lost to Sacramento State. Adam said wrestling is supposed to be soap opera-ish. No, not to the level that it is now. And the other side of it is, do you have to talk about it all the time? You didn't. You know, I was okay not knowing that everything that went on, but I knew what I was watching was not real, and I was okay with it. Okay. Let's see. Lindsay said, I mean, I'm watching for the stories, not for the eye candy. Isn't everyone? Milton says, I think the NCAA has planted their flag for the last stand. I think you're right. The NCAA has just about imploded, refused to adapt, kick you to the curb. Lindsay said, we had Rock, Cena, L.A. Knight, and Pat McAfee on SmackDown last Friday. Is there any guy that's more popular than McAfee right now? And part of why he's popular is he doesn't really have any – I don't say he don't have anybody he's answering to, but nobody's controlling his narrative, because I think for McAfee, he's going to give you opinion, and he doesn't care if it costs him his job or it does anything else. So I don't really have a problem with that. That's what we need more of when we start talking about it. How about Colorado State?
Incredible game.
The real game comes up. There's 2 real games this weekend. Colorado, Oregon, Clemson, Florida State. Florida State struggled with BC.
Sure did.
Over the weekend.
Sure did.
Now, we'll see.
That was BC's Super Bowl.
I don't think
to be clear.
I don't think Clemson can play with them. I don't think they're quite there yet. Regardless of what Andrew thinks.
Wait a minute, say it again.
I don't think Clemson can quite play with Florida State.
Yeah, they got some work to do.
Florida State's defense is going to be a little too nasty.
They've got Tigers got some work to do.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep. Kiffin again questions who called the Tide's defense. Now, Nick is the defensive guy. He's the other one behind Belichick that has been very successful. But the difference is Alabama has been able to get such great talent in that they've been able to overcome that. Now, just like the Tigers, I don't think Alabama has the offensive weapons that it's had before.
They got major issues.
I think so too.
But this is the thing. What did they do to their offense that had worked for them for so many years? What did they decide to do? They decided to try to adapt to what everybody else is going to in the modern era, where they get spread and all this, when they were basically an under-center, eye-functioning team that would go in the gun some and throw the ball. It goes all the way back to McElroy. McCarron's a great example. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden things started evolving. Well, we've got to get these players and we got to do that. Okay, so you won a couple national championships since then, right, with those players. But also you've not produced in years where you've had clearly the best team in college football. Or the best players in college football. All right? So, again, this is Nick Saban. So me criticizing him about something about football would be like, me going into an electrician and telling him, no, you didn't do this right, because I don't know anything about that stuff. So, I want to be very clear about this. But when you just look at things, it doesn't mean that you don't adapt what you do over time. But the fundamental structure of what makes you successful and makes you who you are, if your philosophy on one side of the ball, which he is on and still coaches the defensive backs, is about this, this, and this, then fundamentally changing the structure on the other side doesn't necessarily complement the two like it did before. Now, that is an arguable point, okay, and up for debate all day long. No problem. I understand that. I understand both sides. But when you look at things, what is. And we can make excuses and say this and that and the other, but the bottom line is, when you change the fundamental core structure of all the components that are together, they've not changed special teams, they've not changed defensively. What have they changed? Offensively, they're still a great defensive team. They're still a great special teams team. They have changed offensively to adapt to modern era, which sometimes may or may not be the best way to do things.
Well, the other problem is, if you're going to adapt and change, you better have the personnel there to do it. Like, for example, you've seen NFL coaches or even college coaches come in and want to change a defensive philosophy, go from, say, an odd front to an even front, go from you can go from a 5-2 to a 3-4. It's basically the same thing, where you play your ends. But when you go 5-2 to 4-3,
that's completely different.
It's a different animal.
There's a different
and
game.
You got to have the personnel to do that. Florida State is a 2-point favorite. Over and under is 56 points. That's down in the Valley. The other big game, Oregon and Colorado. Oregon is a 21-point favorite. Is that kind of sneaky in there to get somebody to take money?
No, that's accurate.
Over and under on that game is 71 points. This will be a good game. UCLA and Utah. That'll be a good game. Another good game, Ole Miss and Alabama.
Yeah.
This one's in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah.
And Alabama is a 7-point favorite.
And Lane's already stirring the pot a little bit
Yep.
to get the interest
Yep.
in the game. So.
And Duke is just mauling over people, starting with my Tigers, the 18th-ranked Blue Devils. They're going to take on a strong Husky team that's 0-3, and Duke's a 21-point favorite in an over and under that's 48 points.
If they were an offensive-minded team, Duke, right, if they were prowess that, it would be 100 points. But you remember, they're complimenting what their head coach and the people that he's brought in on the defensive side of the football. They're defensive-minded people. The great thing about the coach at Duke is that he has a head coach mentality, which his strategy is to win the game, not to score 1,000 points and have all these stats and then be a loser at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? He's more important with the process of winning, all right, and tied up with that than, and competing, getting the outcome of the game, than he is worried about stats. Doesn't care about that because it doesn't matter.
Yeah. Surprised how Miami has opened up 3-0. They look like they're not there yet, but they're vastly improved, I think.
Yeah, and it's good momentum. It's good for college football for them to be.
They're ranked number 20. Number 23, Tennessee, took one on the chin from Florida. Florida is going to get things straightened out down there eventually. Tennessee, I'm still not sure. I think
they look
it's
very dysfunctional,
Mm-hmm.
which is not indicative of a hyper-coached team the last several years.
49ers travel to the Swamp on Saturday night to take on the Gators. That could be a long night down in Ben Hill Griffin Stadium. Could be bad. Georgia showed some chinks in the armor over the weekend. They're still number 1. They take on UAB, 42-point favorite. Texas takes on the Baylor Bears. Ohio State, Notre Dame. Ohio State is a 3.5-point favorite.
They're
Not enough, or they can't win.
You're going against a quarterback at Notre Dame that knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I agree.
Ohio State's defense will be challenged for the first time in a long time with a quarterback that understands football.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not a knock on any of the other teams they played or the kids that played against them. I'm not. This kid that transferred from Wake to Notre Dame understands football.
I agree.
So that's Ohio State's offense. I don't know about this, Lanny. I wouldn't be surprised if Notre Dame took them 14-20 out. I don't know.
Pittsburgh takes on North Carolina in Pittsburgh. Carolina for a 7.5-point favorite. Iowa, Penn State. Penn State's a 14.5-point favorite. That's your top 25 for Saturday. Some of the other games will get started on Thursday night this week. I'm ready for Tuesday night and Wednesday night college football. Georgia State travels to Coastal. That's a 7:30 game on Thursday. If you're not at a high school game on Friday night, it's Wisconsin at Purdue, State at Virginia.
Ethan got to play.
I saw that.
Isn't that great? Yeah. That was just wonderful.
Boise State at San Diego State and Air Force at San Jose State.
That's fantastic.
Some of the other games I think will be interesting over the weekend. Let me see here.
Obviously,
Virginia Tech, Marshall.
Who does Florida State play?
Clemson.
All right. And that's what I thought. So is that the game of the week?
No, that's a 12 o'clock game.
Is that the game of the week?
I think the Alabama-Ole Miss game is the game.
What
of the
about
week.
the regional? Do you think
Yeah,
for
yeah,
us
yeah,
here?
yeah,
I mean,
yeah. I think so.
seriously, do you
Sure, yeah.
Like as far as the importance of the area, when you look at it from a whole, that I think that may be more telling of not Clemson, but Florida State.
I agree.
So we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
App State travels to Wyoming to take on the Fighting Josh Allens. Isn't that where he's from? Didn't he come from Wyoming?
I think they're going to come back with a win.
Yeah, I think you're right there
Yeah.
too. Let's see. South Carolina takes on Mississippi State.
That quarterback at Mississippi State's a pretty good player.
Yep. I was looking where your Fighting Pirates must be off this week.
I hope so. I think we're off last week too.
No, they made a good showing.
I'm kidding. I like our team, and I like Coach Houston, and there's some kids that that played well for a couple 3 years.
No, they'll get one. They're at home.
That have moved on.
They're at home. Take on the running Bulldogs from Gardner Webb.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, there's some kids that graduated that had a couple 3 really good years that were big time contributors. They'll be okay. They'll be okay. Mike knows what he's doing.
Ask you about one more team before we get out of here. Is the writing on the wall for Jimbo Fisher? Texas A&M has really fell off.
It's colossal in failure and collapse. That has not happened yet, but it's very likely to work its way through. And, again, Petrino's come in, running the offense. All that's great, but I don't know, man.
Auburn, Texas A&M. A&M's not even in the top 25. I mean, neither are my Tigers, but they don't need to be. No. And A&M will take on Alabama in a couple of weeks, Tennessee, Ole Miss, and LSU. There's probably at least a 2-for-2 split there, and A&M.
Mississippi State this year.
Yes, right after Ole Miss.
I think Mississippi State's going to beat them. I think their quarterback can beat them.
So they're looking at a possible 3, maybe 4 losses. So, all right, that'll wrap it up. We in here Thursday?
We are in here.
We're in here Thursday. All right, see you then. Juju will be with me in the morning.